Good evening and thanks for your company. It's a little over 6:15 p.m. across Cameroon, and it's news time on Canal International coming your way from our main broadcast hub in central Douala. Right ahead, the headlines with Kejang Henry Atembe.
Traditional rulers of the Cliquez Division South region of Cameroon on the offensive after the death of their son Martinez Zogo. They have sent out a very strong message demanding for the assassins of Martinez Zogo to be brought to book. We will not welcome the maggot-infested corpse of Martinez Zogo. They cry out that the corpse should be ferried and buried in the family tomb in the president's village in Vomeka. And Yaoundé residents gripped by fear after the assassination of Martinez Zogo. The atmosphere, they say, is gloomy, and no one can tell who is going to be the next victim of such a brutal killing. The 6:15 News comes to you live from our production center in Douala with anchorman Ntarike Divine Ramsey Jr.
Thanks once again for your company. And so traditional rulers of the Cliquez Division in the central region of Cameroon have declared they will not receive the mortal remains of the murdered journalist Martinez Zogo. They say the corpse of the late Amplitude FM station manager portrays pity and criminality perpetrated by individuals who must be brought to justice ASAP. Hyacinth Chia reports.
The Cliquez traditional rulers, like all Cameroonians, strongly decry the inhuman nature in which their son, Martinez Zogo, was assassinated.
Martinez Zogo a été assassiné sauvagement, torturé, sodomisé, mutilé, atrocement et jeté comme un animal en ce lieu. On nous a arraché notre fils de la pire des manières.
And because of that cruel treatment, the chiefs, on behalf of their subjects, say they will not collect the remains of Zogo, stating that they need a full-fledged body of their beloved son, not the one in the deplorable maggot state. Describing him as a servant of the nation and the regime, the traditional custodians urge President Paul Biya to carry the corpse to his native village.
Ces assassins l'ont fait pourrir et ne nous ont laissé que les asticots. Par conséquent, nous refusons de recevoir ces asticots dans la Cliquez et proposons que la dépouille de Martinez Zogo soit acheminée en Vomeka et qu'il soit enterré dans le caveau familial du président.
Their declaration at Ebogo, the locality where the decaying body was discovered, they also announced that Monday, January 30th, will be considered as Cliquez Noir, a day set aside to mourn Martinez Zogo.
And since the discovery of the mortal remains of the radio presenter last Sunday, inhabitants of Cameroon's capital, Yaoundé, said they have been living in fear. Fright and uncertainty have become the order of the day, with inhabitants unwilling to express their views or even report suspicious behavior around them. Beatrice Ngamo went out into the streets of Cameroon's capital and now paints a verbal picture of the mood in Yaoundé. A report.
The attitude of the inhabitants of Yaoundé, the capital of Cameroon, has changed completely after the assassination of popular radio host Martinez Zogo. Many individuals, due to fear of the unknown, have resorted to total silence, quietness that covers what they know and what they witness or are victims. This Thursday, our quest to deep dig into the Ferret kidnap story SOCIETE reported yesterday afternoon at the Source neighborhood. Around a popular bar, we met sealed lips. Trying our luck at a nearby media house, the same picture. No one dare talk. The victim himself, like close families who were together at the bar, no one could utter a word. People no longer talk in Yaoundé on matters that concern them or not. The fear of the unknown. My family, my children are young, and above all, I still have a fear, uncertainty, the other in Yaoundé. Let me mind my business, even if it pains and hurts. Forbearance, the watchword.
Meantime, 43 the rights and freedoms of Cameroonians and other nationals residing in the country. They took the oath as they were being sworn in at the High Court in Yaoundé. Hyacinth Chia once again with the details.
I, Mabel Sirich Munyangoli, swear to discharge the duties assigned to me with probity and impartiality, to comply with the laws and regulations governing them, to fulfill my obligations, and to uphold professional secrecy.
They said yes before the court and the public to carry on the duty of defending human rights in Cameroon. The oath taken this January 26th at the Mfundi High Court imposes a new spirit of engagement on the 43 staff of the Cameroon Human Rights Commission.
We have sworn in court today to discharge our duty with probity and impartiality, all the duties that will be assigned to us henceforth, and we hope to make Cameroon a human rights-based environment.
A moment for them to remind themselves of their principal mission.
The new law of 2019 provides for this oath taking by the senior staff, because before it was only the members that were taking the oath. But we too today are committed as staff on the field to promote, protect human rights and prevent torture in places of deprivation of freedom with impartiality and with determination.
And the green violation of human rights in Cameroon is an indication that they got much to embark on.
Now, accountability regarding the usage of public funds remain a rather thorny issue, especially amongst countries which speak French and are south of the Sahara. Generally, information on government expenditure is either scanty or simply unavailable for public scrutiny. A 3-day workshop underway in Cameroon's capital, Yaoundé, is seeking to enforce the imposition of auditing and controls to enforce transparency. Beatrice Ngamo.
Partnership between Cameroon and the World Bank, International Monetary Fund, European Union, France, African Development Bank, and many others is also around resources and the management of these resources important. The control and audit of public expenditure are a major issue in ensuring the reliability of information on the issue of public resources management.
It's not only because we receive money from partners, but we have to manage our resources quite well. Those audits are very, very important, and we are going to continue to do that. When I say the audit, I don't mean only the audit done by the institutions but also the audit that is made by the public. And the public is represented by the parliament, and we have what we call budget citoyen. That means a format of our budget that is accessible to everybody, so enable every citizen to understand what we have in the budget, what we have to do, and what the public has to do as a control of the government.
The focus of the regional seminar on budgetary transparency in sub-Saharan Francophone Africa in its second day today, governments have become aware of the need to have a better and more comprehensive knowledge of information underlying fiscal policy and risk, and to make it accessible to anyone with legitimate interest. The participants, representatives of 19 sub-Saharan Francophone African countries, will exchange experiences and discuss on challenges related to strengthening public financial control and audit. Worth recalling here that the issue of audit and control has become increasingly important for the International Monetary Fund. The analysis of public finance management matters.
While the Littoral Regional Council says it is thinking out of the box in an effort to find new funding niches for projects due implementation this year. Against the backdrop of skyrocketing inflation and the ongoing impacts of the Anglophone crisis, the Regional Council's budget has witnessed a slight increase of about 40 million CFA francs. And so for the 2023 financial year, the Council will function on a budget of 3,040 million francs, with a 60% part of it allocated to investments and 40% to operations. Meantime, the Council says it will this year launch what it calls the Douala Regional Development Plan. Governor Dieudonné Eva Hadiboa, sitting in for the Minister of Decentralization and Local Development, prescribed sincerity and probity in the execution of the budget. And now experts warn that today's generation of students run high risks of having their learning processes jeopardized by distractions, including addiction to television and social media. And in most cases, especially in the urban settlements, there is an addition that could further compromise the learning process. It is the location of the school campuses. Some of them, as we hear now from Morindi, are completely surrounded by bars, game halls, and other gambling rooms, amongst others. A report.
The decibels distilled by the sound systems from these bars translates what students of St. Mark's Secondary School are going through every day. Besides being close to the roadside, the school is surrounded by bars and other businesses, a disturbing phenomenon to most secondary and primary schools in Douala.
Most students use it like hideout. When they come late, that's where they go and hide. And you know, those places are not limited to the age group. When students come, they can sell them drinks. So in my opinion, those places should be kept away from the school environment.
Evelyn is a guidance counselor at Government Bilingual High School, Bakoko. She describes the proximity between schools and bars of licenses and businesses as deplorable.
But we advise that early in the mornings, like that, they don't open those places. And we used to invite them in schools when we have meetings and educate them. Maybe they don't know that it has an impact on children.
We moved along and witnessed a more devastating situation with College King Aqua. The school is completely invaded by bars and other businesses, located in what is known as one of the busiest hubs for commercial sex workers. The principal told us he has taken measures for students to begin classes as early as 7:30 a.m., just the time commercial sex workers will spend the night, go to sleep. The littoral delegate for secondary education is conscious of the problem.
What a principal or a head of school can do is precisely what happens inside the school. Because outside is more concerns the
teachers of government and private schools in Douala drop complaints and solicit for help.
And on to something else now, because the National Order of Dental Surgeons of Cameroon has launched an advocacy for the government of Cameroon to consider recruiting some of its members into the public service. Meeting at an ordinary General Assembly earlier today, Henry Atembe.
Members of the Cameroon National Dental Council are meeting in Douala for the Ordinary General Assembly that will run from January 26 to 27, 2023. The agenda of this post-COVID-19 session will look at the various reports, but beyond that, the challenges dentists are facing in Cameroon.
General Assembly, we are to socialize because we didn't get the chance to have a ordinary general meeting. If that we are going to get a resume of the functioning of the association, so that they give us an account of what went on during all that period. Second of all, we need to go to an election of the executive. So we are going to debate about the opportunity of the date. Last but not least, we need to meet our new colleagues and also to share a bit on scientific evolution on our domain.
Cameroon counts more than 1,000 registered dentists. Unfortunately, more than half of them are still unemployed. Hundreds are known to have moved to private practice. Moreover, illegal practitioners have invaded the profession.
People should understand that the law that surrender the practice is very, very important, and that every dentist must obey, because we don't want the people who are not qualified to work in the mouth of the population. That is why it is important for them to check to see whether this man that pretends to be dentist is in the board of the dentist.
After 2 days of work, the dentists are expected to come up with proposals that will be forwarded to the government on how to sanitize their environment.
We now hop across Cameroon's borders to go international to the Middle East, where we gather 9 Palestinians have been killed in an Israeli military raid in the occupied West Bank. That was earlier today. Observers say the raid is about the deadliest in recent years. Reports say an elderly woman in her 60s was among the dead. Israel's military says its troops went into the flashpoint town of Jenin to arrest jihad militants who were preparing major attacks on Israel. Palestine has accused Israel of a massacre. And that's why we call it Kids on tonight's installment of the news in English on Canal International. What next after journalists wore black on Wednesday and the aborted announced march in Yaoundé earlier today? Stay safe and see you tomorrow.